Going to be tough to top our first two fights, but Errol Spence Jr. and Chris Algieri are going to try. Here's the Corona tail of the tape for our main event. Spence is 26 years old. Algieri is 32. They're almost identical in height and reach. Spence is putting his perfect 19-0 record on the line. Let's go to arena announcer Ray Flores for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Premier Boxing Champions now features the main event live on NBC, 10 rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black and the neon yellow. His professional record, 21 wins, 8 of those by way of knockout against 2 losses. Fighting out of Huntington, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Algieri. Across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black and the gold. As a professional, perfect 19 wins, 16 of those coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of DeSoto, Texas. He is the 2012 United States Olympian, Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr.
Okay, guys, you've already received your pre-bout instructions. I want a clean fight, obey my commands at all times, and most importantly, protect yourself at all times. Touch him up.
And here we go. Errol Spence is undefeated. Member of that 2012 Olympic team. This is his biggest test. He told us that yesterday. Chris Algieri feels he's been overlooked. He won his biggest fight right here. He won a title in this arena. This is the first time that Spence has ever faced a former champ. And here we go with round 1, scheduled for 10.
And Kenny, for all those people that have been begging for Errol Spence to step up, well, here it is. He's got Chris Algieri in front of him, former world champion, a guy who fought Manny Pacquiao, also had a very competitive fight with Amir Khan as well, and this is going to be a nice test for Spence tonight.
Only 2 losses for Algieri, Pacquiao and Khan.
Both very, very good fighters. Manny Pacquiao, obviously in a class of his own. Hall of Fame fighter, Amir Khan, multiple weight bracket world champion. So we're going to learn a lot about Errol Spence in this fight with Chris Algieri, because Algieri's very tough, very disciplined, and a pretty good boxer.
June 2014, he defeated Ruslan Provatnikov to take the super lightweight title. It was considered the upset of the year in 2014. Turned things around for Algieri. More of a name, and that landed him eventually the Pacquiao fight. He has 4 of his last 5 fights have been here in the Barclays Center, so he's right at home.
And it was a great fight, the fight with Provatnikov. Algieri had a lot of obstacles early on. He got knocked down twice in that first round, was almost out of the fight, but boxed his way into the fight, and surprised a lot of people when he had advantages on the inside with the feared Ruslan Provatnikov. He was able to land those uppercuts, and Chris has short punches on the inside. It's a pretty nice footwork spinning back to the middle of the ring there, Kenny.
Algieri, a former 2-time world kickboxing champion.
Good body shot.
Nice shot by Spence.
And that's something he talked to us that he was going to do. He's going to attack the body. He's not just, his trainer told us something very interesting. I said, he's fought Manny Pacquiao, he's fought Amir Khan. Good work by Errol there in the clinch, but his trainer said, Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan aren't as fundamentally sound as my guy is, and I kind of agree with him, Kenny.
Well, Spence, last year, the PBC Rising Star of the Year. Great performances throughout. He has been here and has won in this arena. We saw him do it last April against Samuel Vargas.
Good body work by Errol Spence a second ago. Banging both sides of the body. Nice to see that investment here in the first round by Errol.
Spence's teammate, Sir Marcus Brown, winning a split decision in the fight just before this. And he'll be talking live with Todd Harris in just a few moments right at the end of this round.
Curious to see what Marcus has to say about that fight.
Some would say it was a controversial split decision victory. Final seconds, round one. Spence and Algieri underway. And let's go down to Todd.
Thank you, Kenny. Now at 18-0, Sir Marcus Brown. Take me back to that 6th round. You seem to have the momentum. You roll on, and he caught you.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't listening in my corner. They kept telling me rotate away from the right. I walked into it. Got caught with something crazy, but I felt like I had the momentum in that round regardless. So, I mean, even if he dropped me, I felt like the round was even. And I felt like he won 2 rounds the most in that fight.
What was your corner telling you after that 6th round when it seemed like he had seized the momentum?
They told me to keep boxing him and stay on my jab because, as you can see, the jab was working all night. Once I got back on it, he couldn't really get around it too much.
You heard the reaction from the fans. Did you feel like you won this fight?
Totally. And as a fighter, you feel it in your heart that when you lose, and I did not lose this fight. And it should have been unanimous.
And the big question is, what do you want to do next?
Go get some rest and speak to Al Heyman and figure out what's next for us.
Sir Marcus Brown, congratulations.
Thank you, baby.
Kenny, back to you.
All right, thank you, Todd. Marcus still undefeated in his toughest fight yet. And Kalajic, people will be taking another look at that kid. He looked impressive tonight. As we go into round 2, this one's scheduled for 10.
Yeah, I thought he looked more than impressive, Kenny. You know, I was one of the people who thought he definitely won the fight. Marcus fought a good fight as well, but you know, he's got some things he's got to work on. And you know, we all do as fighters, but Kalajic was in good form tonight, and I thought he did enough to win.
His Olympic teammate, Errol Spence, getting that first round from Eric unofficially.
Yeah, he banged the body nice in that first round, Kenny, both sides, and landed some nice straight left hands to the body as well.
Algieri talked yesterday that he did not feel many people had been able to get in and push Spence, and he said, I want him to feel how strong I am.
He's going to have to let his hands go for that. He's not able to find Errol too much in this first round. Nice left hand by Algieri.
Real nice by Algieri.
Caught him with that wide hook as Errol was coming in to land his own jab. He got hit with a hard left hand there, and that hurt him.
And a nice uppercut by Spence. Spence going to work against the ropes.
Algieri's hurt here, Kenny. And he got hit with a hard left hand. You see the leverage. It's amazing the leverage that Errol Spence gets on those shots. He really turns his body.
And Spence continues to do work against the ropes. Algieri trying to hold on here. Round 2, strong showing by Errol Spence.
Chris has got to move his head. He can't continue to take those. Nice right hand by Chris. Veteran move, but Chris has got to make Errol miss. Don't just block those punches because he's able to maintain his balance.
Algieri's conditioning is amazing, as well as his toughness. Knocked to the canvas 6 times by Pacquiao, and hung on to at least get a decision with the distance against one of the all-time greats.
That was an amazing fight, Kenny. Did you just see a glimpse of the toughness that Chris Algieri has? He was visibly hurt, and you know, Errol is a very solid, strong puncher, and he was loading up against those ropes. You can hear the impact of those shots, and you know, Chris bounces back now like it was nothing.
And Spence again. Nice right, and a good left. Spence just missing with the uppercut.
Chris told us that Errol's a power puncher, and power punchers all get tired, so interesting point he talked about at the fighter meetings yesterday. We're not going to have a chance to see if he gets tired or not unless Chris starts firing back, though.
Algieri taking a lot of punches in this round, but still going so far. Final seconds. Errol Spence with an impressive second round. Let's take a look at the Applebee's corner cam.
In some of the action in that last round, you see the nice right hook by Errol Spence and a crushing left hand. I mean, he dished out a severe beating to Chris Algieri in that last round, Kenny, and I'm surprised at the composure that Chris was able to maintain.
And in the Spence corner, they were saying, way to go, keep it up. As we go into this round 3 scheduled for 10. And in the black and gold is the Olympian, Errol Spence. He's yet to lose.
You see that nice wide stance by Errol, the weight kind of on his back left foot. Always ready for that left hand or that left uppercut, and just getting maximum leverage on every single shot.
You see, undefeated Algieri with those 2 losses to Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan.
You see in this round, Algieri starting to assert himself a little more. He can't stay on the back foot and wait for Errol to attack. It's too complete of an attack, Kenny. He's got to make Errol go to his back foot and go to a plan B.
Covering up on most of those punches, but Spence continues to be the aggressive fighter.
And he's not missing because Spence is going to the body. Very intelligent from the young fighter. If he were loading up like that going to the head, Algieri would make him miss, but Spence is investing down to the body and really banging Chris up. You see that head position by Chris on the inside. He's getting his head underneath Errol's head to make sure that Errol can't land any good punches in there. Nice counter right hook. Nice left hook by Chris Algieri.
Algieri trying to fight back out of this. As once again, the action being carried here by Spence, reaching out Algieri.
And you see Spence still controlling the action, but Algieri's starting to have some moments here in the third round. Definitely not getting the best of it, but he's landed a couple nice counters on the inside.
All right, keep your head up.
And it's going to be interesting if this fight makes it to the 7th, 8th, 9th rounds to see the conditioning of Spence.
Well, that's what Algieri told us yesterday, BJ. He felt the longer the fight goes on, the stronger he will get, stronger even than Spence.
Spence has definitely never been pushed in any of his previous fights, and you know, Chris is a very tough nut to crack as far as breaking him down and getting him out of there. Hall of Famer Manny Pacquiao wasn't able to do it, and if Errol Spence can, it would really make a statement tonight.
Spence again with some nice shots here late.
Beautiful body shots.
Spence doing some work to that body and work along the ropes. Final seconds of round 3. Nice close by Errol Spence Jr. Premier Boxing Champions continues later tonight. Gary Russell Jr., Patrick Hyland in a featherweight title fight. And don't forget, we'll be back in action on NBC in primetime, June 18th. And back live, you're looking at Errol the Truth Spence Jr., the Olympian coming in here with an undefeated record of 19-0, taking on Chris Algieri. He said it was the biggest fight of his career. And so far, he has looked very strong here against Algieri. Certainly a tough and well-conditioned opponent.
He has. He's came out dominant, Kenny, digging the body, attacking, and hasn't given Chris a chance to get into this fight. He's been so complete.
And all 3 rounds, Eric Raskin unofficially scoring it for Spence and going down Algieri.
5, 6, 7, 8, okay? All right.
Errol Spence has knocked down Algieri here in the 4th. Remember, though, the Pacquiao fight, 6 times he went down, 6 times he got up, did Algieri.
I'm going to tell you the difference, Kenny, between Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence. Errol Spence digs the body more so than Manny Pacquiao, and that's going to make it tough for Chris to survive if he keeps going down like that.
And Algieri talked about that yesterday, how he fears the body punches of Spence. He had great respect for him. And now he's feeling the body shots throughout.
When you get hurt like that, it's much easier to defend against headshots. Errol is a disciplined body puncher, and he's so heavy-handed down there too, so it makes it tough. I'm not saying Errol Spence is better than Manny Pacquiao by any means. He's got a long ways to go, but he definitely does get his opponent in trouble and focuses downstairs. That's why he's got 16 knockouts out of 19 wins, Kenny.
And Algieri just spins him around along the ropes.
And Errol's one of those kids that the longer the fight goes, you know, the better the opposition gets. He's going to continue to show why he's dominant and why he's better than the rest. He gets better with time because of the body punching.
Algieri reaching out, missing.
Look at the eyes of Spence. He's on his back foot. Eyes are wide open, watching everything Algieri does.
Waiting for any opening. Great use of his body shots in this fight. And a knockdown here in round 4.
low blow.
Spence goes on. Good left. Algieri against the ropes. Spence digging into the body again.
I mean, Algieri, Kenny, has had a very rough round. He's dropped, he got hurt, he got hit with a low blow, and then Spence just assaulted him again off those ropes.
Spence continuing to control this fight. And now thrown down. Algieri just throws Spence down.
Okay.
Not a knockdown, a throwdown, maybe out of frustration. It was Spence delivering the big blow in this round. Rocking Chris Algieri and knocking him down. And then before the bell, Algieri throwing him down. What's coming up next? Stay with us.
Let's take a look at the knockdown in the last round. You see Chris bending down and shooting that left hook. Getting a nice exchange there, but Errol hitting him with the left hand on the top of the head. Very dangerous place. Knocks off your equilibrium. Errol very heavy-handed, Kenny.
And we go back to live action here in this, the 5th round scheduled for 10. Spence trying to stay undefeated. He's in the black and gold. Algieri basically here at home. He has fought outside of the state of New York only one time. That last round, and he goes down again. Spence does it again.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Algieri is wobbly.
Not too much more.
He twisted his ankle there when he went down. He's not going to be able to take too much more of this.
And Spence trying to finish it here. He has a wounded prey, and he knows it. And Spence puts him back down, and that's it. That is it. Errol Spence Jr. remains undefeated with the knockout of Chris Algieri.
Wow, Kenny. Chris Algieri goes 12 rounds with Manny Pacquiao, fights Amir Khan tooth and nail. Errol Spence dissects him, assaults him, and takes him out here in round 4. And I mean, that was just an impressive display by Errol Spence. There's a new face in the 147-pound division.
And there's baby Ivy, 6 months old. And no doubt, happy for her daddy.
Kenny, I cannot say enough about that. That was a complete performance. I mean, he didn't even have any lapses at all during that fight, and he just showed he's ready for anyone in the division.
Against the very game and tough Chris Algieri, knocked down 3 times in this fight, 2 in this round to end it.
Wow.
Man who'd been knocked down 6 times and kept getting up against Pacquiao, but he couldn't get up against the truth. And Errol Spence facing his first former champ, his biggest fight ever. He told us that. And he comes through in great fashion.
And it's hard not to root for this kid, Kenny. You get in there with the fighter meetings with him. He's got that southern draw. He's such a polite gentleman. And he gets in there in that ring, and he told us he hits that light switch. And he's a savage beast in there.
And he did what no one else has been able to do. He has stopped Chris Algieri. As we take a look at how Errol Spence, who'd had great body shots, takes this round.
And you see Chris kind of falling in there, and Errol taking advantage of an off-balance Algieri with the straight left hand. Hits him. Let's take another look at it from a different angle. Coming forward, and then Chris just with his hand down, off balance. Errol always in position to punch because he's got that left foot planted. Hits him with a nice solid shot. And let's take a look at the last knockdown. Chris is in bad trouble here, and Errol just mixing up his attack. Overhand left. A series of body shots earlier, and Chris just didn't know where to defend himself, Kenny. Errol had a very complete offensive attack, and very impressive.
Winds up, lets it go, and runs his record now to 20-0. 17 wins coming by way of knockout. And his most impressive performance for the 26-year-old Errol Spence, who was actually born on Long Island, raised, though, in DeSoto, Texas. He said he had a lot of relatives here tonight. And for those who had not seen him in action, he made a lot of new fans here with this impressive performance.
Man, I've always been a fan of his, Kenny, ever since the 2012 Olympics. I touted him as one of the future stars, and we're just starting to see the emergence of a new face in the 147-pound division. You got the Amir Khans, the Danny Garcias, Lamont Peterson, all those big names in there. Kell Brook. You now throw in Errol Spence, who said he's happy to go to England to face IBF 147-pound champion Kell Brook. He's, I got to make a pretty strong case for him. Kell Brook better get to training camp.
Errol Spence Jr., who said he's like a lion looking at a gazelle. Very laid back until he has to go into action. And he springs forward tonight and stops Chris Algieri, the first man able to do that. The truth hurt several times on those body shots. It was Errol Spence Jr. in total domination of this fight and finishing it off to stay perfect. And he knows it. And New York knows it. And so does everyone watching. We'll hear from him coming up.
Amir Khan couldn't do it. Manny Pacquiao couldn't do it, but Errol Spence Jr. could. He deals Chris Algieri the first knockout defeat of his career. A statement victory for Errol Spence Jr. He is now 20-0 with 17 knockouts. He is victorious here at the Barclays Center right now. Let's go to Ray Flores, the arena announcer, for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, a referee in charge, Benji Estevez, waves off the contest at 48 seconds of the 5th round for your winner by technical knockout and still undefeated, Errol the Truth Spence Jr.
You look at Algieri stop for the first time. Errol Spence, dominant. Motel 6 final punch stats shows that. Spence doing great body work throughout this. Landing 96, throwing 311, over 30% clip. And Spence now recording a knockout, 16 of his 17 KOs in 5 rounds or less. And that was the display he put on tonight. The jab set things up. Look at this. He set everything up with the jab. Algieri could not find a rhythm throughout this fight because of the great jabs by Errol Spence. He brought the total package, including the power punches, and knocking Algieri down 3 times. And again, as Leah mentioned, the first man to stop Chris Algieri.
Yep, we're all good.
He's 20-0 and standing by with Todd.
All right, thank you, Kenny. EJ, congratulations. It was a tremendous fight. You knew he was tough coming into this thing. Do you think you could get him early and get the knockout?
I thought it was going to be late, to tell you the truth, but Chris Algieri's a tough fighter, and I just thank him for this opportunity he gave me.
You had told us earlier that no one had really pushed you into deep waters. Did he push you into deep waters today, going into the 6th?
He tested me a little bit, but he didn't push me into deep waters. I was prepared for everything that he came with.
Well, you did something that Manny Pacquiao couldn't do. You knocked out this young man, which is very important. A lot of folks don't know you are from New York. You're a New York native, even though you do have the draw from Texas. The big question is now, what do you want to do next? A lot of speculation of where you might go.
I think now I'm the number one contender to Kell Brook. So Kell Brook know what time it is. You know, we got to get in the ring and fight. Danny Garcia and all the rest of the welterweight champions. I want them all. Doesn't matter who.
All right, we're going to put you to work and have you look at some of these highlights. Tell us what you saw here and what was going through your mind. I know Derek James was coaching you quite well. This is the round 4 knockdown.
Yeah, we seen in previous fights that he was trying to go for the overhand and that he'll lean in a lot. So when he leaned in, we just waited for him to come up because he had to come back up. When he came back up, I met him with the left hook.
And here is the next round.
See how he was ducking? He kept ducking. Go to the body. Bam, right there. See, he kept ducking. Every time he ducked, cut off. Every time he ducked, I met him with the left hook. Cause we seen that in the camp. We seen that when he fought Manny Pacquiao. And we seen that when he was fighting Amir Khan, that he'll duck and then he'll come back up. And his eyes will be looking down. A lot of time fighters, they'll be looking at the floor when they duck instead of looking up at their opponent. So I just caught him with a blind punch that you didn't see, and that's the ones that hurt the most.
Your trainer, Derek James, has prepared you well. You came back here, lots of family from Long Island, the New York area. As I said, you were born in Brentwood. Your daughter, Ivy, looking on. What was it mean to you from Texas to come back to New York and get this victory now at 20-0?
Well, it means a lot. You know, this is where I was born. This is where my family is on both sides. So it meant a lot to fight in front of my family and fight in front of my daughter for the first time. And now tomorrow I get to see my grandma and my daughter get to meet her great-grandmother.
Well, it's a huge victory for you. How much time will you take off before Derek calls you back into the gym?
I didn't take too much punishment, but we got to take off from the training camp. The training camp was hard, and we'll probably take off 2-3 weeks and get back in the gym and talk to my manager and see where I go from here.
Errol, congratulations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Kenny?
All right, thanks, Todd. So impressive, Errol Spence. What did you think about this performance, BJ?
Oh, Kenny, very complete. He was able to take his time. He kept his composure. He never looked like he was in a rush until he got Chris Algieri hurt. And then he rushed the right way. He attacked the body. He finished up top. And I just think he creates a lot of interesting matchups with Kell Brook. Danny Garcia just moved up from 140. So I think Errol Spence is definitely more heavy-handed than him. And, you know, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, those kind of guys, you throw him in right now, and I feel like he's ready for those types of names. So he's going to make a pretty dang good fight every time out.
It wasn't officially one, but it felt like a welterweight eliminator in a way, didn't it? Could Spence come up against the first champion he ever faced? Could he do this to show that he belongs?
Yeah, and he was talking about that in the meetings yesterday. Kell Brook is next if he's able to get by. He already won a mandatory in his last fight with that against Barrera, and this is more of a stay busy fight. And just continuing to impress and continuing to improve with every fight. I can't wait for him to fight Kell Brook.
He is 20-0. Brooks said he wants next. 17 of those wins coming by way of knockout. His victim tonight, Chris Algieri, had never been stopped. Not by Amir Khan, not by Manny Pacquiao, not by anyone. But Errol Spence did it. When we come back, Chris Algieri will give his assessment of this fight and what he thinks about this talented young man from DeSoto, Texas, who shines tonight with his daughter Ivy looking on.
Welcome back to Barclays Center. Tonight, Errol Spence Jr. put the welterweight division on notice. A knockout victory in the 5th round over Chris Algieri. For Algieri, it was the first time he's been knocked out in his career. So a statement match tonight by Errol Spence Jr. here at Barclays Center. He said he needed this fight. People were criticizing him, saying that he hadn't fought anyone, a name fighter, anyone who had really done anything in his career. He's proved them wrong here tonight. He fought Chris Algieri. He knocked him out. Let's go to Todd Harris, who's standing by with Chris Algieri.
All right, thank you, Liam. Chris, I know it's not the way you wanted to end here in front of your hometown fans. Take me through the fight, and where did the momentum really shift for you?
You know, I was talking to my coach, John David Jackson, about it. I just kind of, I didn't stick with each game plan. You know, there was a couple different game plans, different couple of routes I could have went, and I was kind of sliding in between two different styles too quickly and not setting down in one long enough.
Could not knock you out. He was able to do it tonight. You don't want to take anything away from him, but what was he doing differently that was really the difference in the fight tonight?
You know, not taking anything away from him. He's a hungry young lion. You know, he'll be a great champion one day. You know, he brought some good stuff tonight. You know, he really, you know, he stayed composed, and that was a big part of it. I know I caught him with some good shots, some shots that he definitely felt, but, you know, he stayed composed, picked his shots, and caught me, like I said, in between. As I was, you know, switching between strategies.
This is a bit of a home away from home for you. You fought at the Barclays. There's pictures of you in the hallway. How important was it for you tonight to put on a great performance for these fans?
You know, I always want to put on a great performance, not even just for the fans, but just, you know, for the sport in general. You know, I want to go out there and give it my all, and, you know, I hope that people can appreciate me, how hard I work and what I brought to the ring.
You're a no-excuses guy, but what happened in the 5th round when you stepped back? Was it the knee? Was it the ankle? What happened there? It looked like you had a little bit of a tweak.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to take anything away from this young, hungry lion. You know, he did a great job. Yeah, I might have tweaked it a little bit, but, you know, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from the young kid. He did a great job.
All right, Chris, looking forward now, what do you want to do with your career? Where do you want to go next?
You know, I trained really hard for this fight. Take a little bit of time, talk to my family, talk to my team, and just back to the drawing board. You know, back to the drawing board. I still feel like I'm getting better and better. I need to really just settle down and do my homework.
Chris, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Tremendous night of fighting here at Barclays Center. In the headliner, though, it was Errol Spence Jr. with a knockout victory over Long Island's Chris Algieri. Much more still to come from Barclays Center here in Brooklyn.
Premier Boxing Champions on NBC is brought to you by Corona, who invites you to find your beach, and by Applebee's Carside to Go.
Earlier tonight, it was a fight with a bit of Brooklyn flavor as the borough's own Earl Newman won against Dustin Eckhart. Let's take a look at the Corona tail of the tape. Eckhart, 29 years old, from Pittsburgh, 13-2. As for Newman, from Brooklyn, New York, undefeated, 8-0, 6 knockouts. Here is how Kenny and BJ called the fight. We pick it up in round number 4.
Errol Newman in the black and red as we begin round 4. This one scheduled for 6 between these cruiserweights. Newman here at home. First time he's ever fought in Brooklyn. Grew up just around the corner in East Flatbush. And according to our unofficial scorer, Eric Raskin, he lost his last round to Eckhart. Eckhart with a 10-9 round.
Close round. Eckhart definitely had his moments and landed some good shots. One thing I wanted to comment on, Kenny, I think the corner of Eckhart is falling in love too much with the right hand. You hear his corner saying, you know, shoot the right hand in the body, shoot it again to the head. They're missing the left hook in there, and I think the defense of Newman, he's trying to roll that left shoulder. Everything is deflecting the right hand. The left hook is open, though.
The power punch for him has been that left hook. Meanwhile, Newman's corner telling him follow up more on the jabs and get busier with the jabs. Went away from that in the last round.
One thing Newman will do when he gets a little, one thing Eckhart will do when he gets a little frustrated, he'll put both hands up and walk straight in, squared. Leaves the entire body as a target. Very difficult to miss whenever you have a guy walking in with his hands up like that, so Newman's taking advantage of that. See both guys on the inside trying to get outside position with their head, not trying to keep it in the middle. Nice straight right hand.
There's the right they want.
Once again, though, it's such a missed opportunity not to come back with that left hook. Whenever Newman's, both of his hands are up, he's in a defensive posture to catch the right hand. There's no way he can stop the hook to the body or the head, but Eckhart refuses to shoot.
Eckhart again trying with the right, countering with the left was Newman. Now Newman a couple of body shots.
Beautiful shot by Eckhart a second ago, but you saw him look at his work. You never stand there and look and admire what you just did. You got to shoot again or make a move and get outside, and Eckhart paid the price. And if I'm the corner of Newman here, I'm going to start using my left jab.
Beautiful. Nice right by Newman. Nice right. And Eckhart will take the count. Newman knocking down Eckhart here in the 4th.
Saw how he set that up, Kenny.
That's it. You heard him respond, no, he was not okay. And Errol Newman goes to 9-0.
I was just in the process of saying, you know, use that left jab to set some traps. I couldn't get it out. Newman beat me to the punch, but, you know, use that left jab, touch him, do some things to set some traps to get this guy to walk in. And he was reading my mind, and he did it perfectly. And nice knockout.
2:30 of round 4. Errol Newman records a 7th knockout and goes to 9-0.
Let's take a look here how he did it, Kenny. See him pushing out that left jab right there, slipping to the outside with that pull counter right hand. Hit Newman right on the chin. He was timing that punch all night, but he finally found the distance and the range to really land it how he wanted to. There you see, beautiful pull counter by Newman. Hit him right on the chin. Eckhart felt like he was behind in the fight. You get those fights where you're doing well, you're competitive, but you feel like you're losing, and he was a discouraged fighter there and kind of just threw the towel in. He definitely wasn't out, though.
And meanwhile, there is a man that's only been a pro for a year and a half. 24-year-old Errol Newman. Let's go to Ray Flores to get the official time of that knockout victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes 30 seconds of the 4th round. Referee in charge, Tony Cherotano, waves off the bout for your winner by technical knockout and remaining undefeated from right here in Brooklyn, New York, Errol the Flash Newman.
So Newman, your impressions of him in this just his 9th pro fight?
I thought he looked good. I liked how he was patient. He set things up.
Year-old Errol Newman. Let's go to Ray Flores to get the official time of that knockout victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes 30 seconds of...
So in his first fight in his hometown, it was a bit of hello Newman. Earl Newman runs his record to 9-0, the knockout victory here in his native Brooklyn. Also earlier tonight at light heavyweight, we had a bout between Marcus Brown and Radivoje Kalajic. Not without its controversy. Brown won it in a tough split decision. Some might say controversial split decision. Our Todd Harris right now with Kalajic.
Here we go. All right, thank you very much, Liam Radivoje. I know you're disappointed in that. Let's go back to the early rounds when they had that. It was ruled a knockdown. What did you see and what did you feel?
I tripped over his foot, and as I was down, he hit me, and the referee started counting. That should have been a point taken away or disqualification, something. That was not a knockdown.
Early in the fight, it looked like he had the momentum going. He was kind of dictating the pace, but then you started to come on middle of the fight. And I've talked with Willie Ellis, your trainer, and he was saying just stay away from that tie-up game that he was throwing at you. Yeah,
I started slow, but I picked up, and I heard him a couple times, and he kept tying up. The referee should have did something about that, and I still felt like I won the fight.
I talked to him after the fight, Sir Marcus Brown. He said you did catch him with that one punch when you knocked him down. Did you think at that point that you had that fight?
Yeah, but I felt like I was picking up the pace, and I felt like I was going to get the victory either way because he kept holding and running away. I felt like I was doing better.
Take us in your corner the last 2 rounds. What was Willie telling you? What did he specifically want you to do in those last 2 rounds to get that victory?
He wanted me to stop looking for the one punch, throw the right hand to the body, and throw combinations. And then when I did do that, I always hit him. I connected.
I know the frustration when you heard the decision. What was going through your mind?
I was pissed, we fought at the Barclays Center, his hometown, and everybody's booing him. Everybody was cheering out for me, so that tells you who won. If he's a real fighter, he should give me a rematch. If he felt like he won, he could beat me again, give me a rematch. The fans want to see it. Let's ask the fans. They'd want a rematch.
How quickly is that something you get with Willie, and you said you're going to be back in the gym within a week once you let your stitches heal up a little bit. How quickly do you think, or would you like to have that rematch?
2-3 months.
2-3 months.
Yeah.
So you definitely want Sir Marcus Brown again before anyone else?
Yeah, exactly. If you feel like he beat me, do it again. Let's give the fans one more fight.
Let's bring your trainer here. Willie, let's talk about what happened, what you saw. I know you were very disappointed then. You were given the thumbs down. What do you do as far as repairing your fighter? The scars will heal, the stitches but repairing him mentally and getting him back in that ring.
Well, like I told him after the fight was over, we couldn't do anything about that decision. It's over with. What we're going to do is get back in the gym, right? And what I'm going to do is get him to start faster in fights and not slow. Because, like Lou was saying earlier, if he would have started faster in the earlier rounds, it wouldn't even have went to the decision like it did. So we just need to get him more busy, pick the volume of punches up, and like he did in later the fights, it wouldn't have been this hard.
Well, let me ask you, will you watch this tape, Radivoje? Will you watch this fight in its entirety?
Yeah, I'll watch it, but I already know what to do for the next fight. Just listen to my coach. I didn't really listen to it. I'd listen to it, but not as much as I should have. If I did, the fight would have, I think it would have won like 6 rounds. But I was a big underdog. He's an Olympian. I had 20-some amateur fights, lost about 7-8. I don't have that much experience that he does, and I showed I belong on this level. So I feel like he should give me a rematch.
All right, Radivoje, Willie, thank you for your time, guys. Good luck to you in the future as we throw it back to Kenny Rice and BJ Flores.
All right, thank you, Todd. And Kalajic, some fighters will have an excuse, BJ, and you'll say, well, okay, maybe they weren't touched as much. But here it is. The guy trips. He's just down on his knee. He's touched there by Brown. That was ruled a knockdown, and in a split decision victory, how big is that?
That was absolutely huge, but even if they would have ruled that a knockdown, it still only would have been a draw, which I strongly disagree with. But it just shows, this fight wasn't necessarily judged the best way. I disagree strongly, and I don't think the right guy won tonight, Kenny.
But Marcus Brown does win. He is still undefeated at 18-0. And we'll have more highlights as we wrap up an exciting night here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The PBC on NBC will continue in just a few moments. Stay with us. And in the championship fight tonight in the cruiserweight division, it was Krzysztof Glowacki in his first title defense against the 2-time former champ Steve Cunningham, BJ.
Able to score all those knockdowns, Kenny. That was really the difference in the fight. Steve Cunningham controlled a lot of the rounds and a lot of the action, but the explosive moments belonged to Krzysztof Glowacki, and he won a well-deserved decision tonight over a very game 2-time world champion.
And here it is in what had been a relatively close fight. Even though Cunningham had been knocked down 3 times, he was coming back, and then this finishes it off. Glowacki with the knockdown in the 12th. That was icing on the cake. He stays undefeated. And then in the main event, it was Errol Spence Jr. for the first time stopping Chris Algieri. Manny Pacquiao had not done it. Amir Khan had not done it. but Errol Spence does to go to 20-0.
Ultra impressive, and now he's next in line for Kell Brook to fight for that IBF title, and very much looking forward to that because he's an explosive puncher, Kenny. He knows how to dig the body, and he can get anybody out of there with that type of body attack.
With Errol Spence coming in here tonight, that was the big question. It was the first time that he had faced someone that was a champ, and he defeated him. And he did it impressively tonight, Liam.
Kenny, thanks. Eerily quiet here at Barclays Center, but it was an explosive night of boxing. Early on, we saw Krzysztof Klobowski defend his title in emphatic fashion, an excellent bout against Steve Cunningham. After that, Marcus Brown with a win, split decision, not without controversy, though. But Marcus Brown stays perfect in his career. And finally, Errol Spence Jr. winning by knockout over Chris Algieri, the Long Island native and the local favorite. Spence sending a message to the entire welterweight division. Thanks so much for watching Premier Boxing Champions on NBC. Coming up next on NBC, except on the West Coast, it is your local news. And later tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central, it is an all-new Saturday Night Live with host Julia Louis-Dreyfus and musical guest Nick Jonas. So for Kenny Rice, BJ Flores, Todd Harris, and our entire crew, I'm Liam McHugh saying so long from the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York.